Hello and welcome to Newsweek South Asia, a program that talks about breeding of terrorism and its impact on South Asian nations. Let's begin with the headlines first. Hafiz Saeed arrested in Lahore. India calls it repetitive drama. Afghanistan battered with wave of violence. Peace talks wield no effect on Taliban terrorism. Pakistan encourages terrorists in Kashmir, reveals Indian annual report on security. And ISIS threats research in South Asia. A Bangladeshi ex-military officer assists terrorism. After being issued a pre-bail arrest by a Lahore court, 2611 mastermind Hafiz Saeed eventually got arrested in Lahore this week. India has referred to the arrest as another drama which Islamabad has been carrying out since 2001. Pakistan, from a long time, has been facing immense pressure to crack down on terrorist groups and entities. Hafiz Saeed's arrest is a result of this international pressure, as Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan is set to visit the United States in the coming weeks. A report.
In order to save its face from global embarrassment, Pakistan this time played a new game of deception by creating an offstage drama of arresting 2611 mastermind Hafiz Saeed after issuing a pre-arrest bail to him. The pre-arrest bail by an anti-terrorism court and then the drama of arresting Saeed is barely a subject of surprise because Pakistan, from a very long time, is known for initiating bogus counter-terrorism operations whose sole aim is to create an aura of mendacity around the world.
This has been going on for a long time. You see, arrest, release, and I think after every major terrorist incident which he perpetrates in India, I think he has been arrested and he has been then released on some grounds or the other. And this drama, to my count, I think it has been more than 8 times since 2001. We have seen this drill. The question is whether this time this will be more than a cosmetic exercise, whether Hafiz Saeed will be tried and sentenced for his terrorist activities.
Lashkar Chief's arrest has come just few days ahead of Imran Khan's visit to the United States. The move can be seen as an appeasement stunt by Pakistan to appease the US administration as the country is facing grave financial crisis and PM Imran Khan is trying all possible ways to seek monetary assistance from global financial institutions and affluent countries.
This is actually a pattern of going inside the prison and coming out and a repeat performance. So I feel that this time also it is no different because Pakistan is under tremendous pressure from the international community, tremendous pressure from US and also from pressure from India. It has to show to the global community that it is taking certain more actions, and the financial action task force, they are breathing on Pakistan's neck. They are already in grey zone and they could be blacklisted. And now Mr. Imran Khan is going to US for a 3-day visit on 22nd, and he wants to show to US that they are moving forward, want to show to the international community that Pakistan is taking some actions. So I think this is just a very, very temporary measure. It's a repeat of what is happening.
Under pressure from the international community, Pakistani authorities have launched investigations into matters of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Falah-e-Insaniyat Foundation regarding their holding and use of trust to raise funds for terrorism financing. But the investigations are merely an eyewash since no significant terror leaders have received any punishment for their heinous deeds.
This is all something known as protective custody because they are valuable assets and Pakistan likes to keep these assets in a protective custody. So like Masood Azhar, they had relocated him, they get all the medical facilities, they get all the support, and therefore I think his stay behind the bars is going to be very, very temporary, and you'll see soon this guy will be out. like they will not be able to frame any serious charges, and once again he will be back into the old game. So I think this whole process or this whole activity is very, very short-lived and very temporary in nature.
Hafiz Saeed, who introduced the Fidayeen cult in Kashmir, had the audacity to plead innocence in the Lahore High Court. It was a repeat of history where this terror mastermind has followed a script of denial to take recourse to the legal infirmities patronized by the biased interpretations of jurists in Pakistan. Hafiz Saeed has created chaos in South Asia, in which the new generation of terrorists not only hit other nations but target Pakistan as well.
Pakistan was told by Senator Hillary Clinton that if you rear snakes in your own backyard, they are going to bite you. So some of the snakes, who are what Pakistan calls them as terrorists, are already biting them. In Balochistan, the same thing happening in Tariq-e-Taliban, Pakistan. So therefore, you cannot have two shades of terrorists, and that's what Pakistan needs to understand, that they can't have friendly terrorists and the terrorists who are injurious to their interest. They have to eliminate terrorism as a whole.
Pakistan's ignorance towards counter-terrorism measures has cost a fortune to Kashmir Valley because it continues to suffer endless pain owing to the acts of violence ignited by Pakistan-based terror entities. Terrorists like Hafiz Saeed have changed the definition of terror, wherein he uses the name of charity Jamaat-ud-Dawa to hide his crimes against humanity. Pakistan has a list of citizens who are UN-designated terrorists, but still they manage to lead a comfortable life in the country owing to its weak anti-terrorism laws.
Afghanistan has been caught under a wave of violence unleashed by Taliban insurgents, while US and Afghan government put all-out efforts to broker peace with Taliban. There has been a series of attacks in different parts of the country already ravaged by devastating war. Recently, a landmine blast killed at least 11 pilgrims riding in a truck in the southern province of Kandahar. We have a report.
At least 11 pilgrims, including 7 children, lost lives in a landmine attack perpetrated by Taliban terrorists in Kandahar province of southern Afghanistan. The blast also injured 34 others that mostly include women and children.
د نن د حادثې په اړه به تاسو ته ووایم چې یو ټونس باډي والا ټونس موټر و چې دوی د اروزګان اوسیدونکي وو او راتله د شاغا زیارت ته چې پر لارې باندې د ځای پر ځای سوي مین سره دوی تصادم کړی و او چې په دې جمله کې 10 تنه زموږ زخمیان درلوده چې موږ ته شفخانې ته میرویس روغتون ته رسېدلي دي او 11 هم شهیدان وو چې د دې زخمیانو د جملې څخه اکثریت یې ماشومان وو چې په دې کې 22 ماشومان وو او 8 لویان وو.
The victims were going on a pilgrimage to a shrine of Sufi Shah Aga, a companion and relative of Prophet Mohammad. A day before this fateful incident, in another landmine blast, 2 children lost lives in Balkh province in the northern Afghanistan. Years of conflict have left Afghanistan strewn with landmines laid by the Taliban terrorists who have been waging an armed offensive against the Afghan government and the innocent residents of the country. More recently, Taliban insurgents had forced a Swedish charity to close dozens of healthcare centers in the central Afghan province that has furthered the misery of civilians. Last year, at least 1,415 Afghan civilians were killed or injured by landmines and unexploded munitions. Children made up 1/3 of overall casualties and 80% of those from unexploded munitions, according to the United Nations Mine Action Service.
Taliban is under the impression that if adequate offensive activities are carried out, then possibly they'll be able to subjugate the Afghanistan army and take over complete Afghanistan. So therefore, while peace talks are going on just to ensure that USA finally withdraws from there, all the Western experts who are there, who are advising Afghanistan army, including intelligence agencies such as CIA, etc., who are helping the Afghanistan government with technical intelligence, with supporting systems such as drones, such as helicopter gunships, such as other important weapons. If they get withdrawn, then capacity to fight of the Afghanistan army will reduce drastically.
The war in Afghanistan has cost billions of US dollars and shattered countless families, particularly of Afghan troops and police officers, 45,000 of whom have been killed in the past 5 years of fighting alone. The fate of more than 35 million Afghans, including 3 lakh members of Afghan security forces, is on a negotiating table in Doha, Qatar. Where the Afghan government and the United States are still trying to reach an agreement with Taliban on withdrawing Western troops and bringing peace in the war-torn country.
Presenting its annual report in Parliament, Indian Defence Ministry revealed that Pakistan continues to encourage terrorists to infiltrate into India under the cover of massive cross-border firing in Jammu and Kashmir. The annual report further asserts that the Pulwama terror attack yet again proved that India remains a persistent target of Pakistan's state-sponsored cross-border terrorism policy, a report.
Pakistan's hostilities in the form of continued ceasefire violations to facilitate terrorists enter into Jammu and Kashmir has remained intact even after the deadly Pulwama attack and Balakot's preemptive airstrike by India. Making this observation in its annual report for 2018 and 2019, the Indian Defence Ministry said India's position on Pakistan has not changed and it demands that Pakistan should take credible and irreversible steps to stop supporting terrorists and terror groups operating from territories under its control. Moreover, Pakistan should dismantle the infrastructure operated by terrorist outfits to launch attacks against India. FSA's Director Junaid Qureshi also compliments India's stand on Pakistan and suggests that Islamabad plays a very crucial role in funding and building the infrastructure of terrorism that has emerged from the land itself.
अब दुनिया आहिस्ता आहिस्ता ये समझ रही है कि नहीं जी, ये सारी जो रिलीजियस तंजीमें हैं, ये मजहबी तंजीमें हैं, ये जो टेररिज्म फैला रही हैं, इनको पाकिस्तान की स्टेट एजेंसियों का, पाकिस्तान की मिलिट्री का, पाकिस्तान की अफवाज का, फ़ौज का इनको सपोर्ट है. फिर इसमें नॉन स्टेट एक्टर्स भी बेशक इन्वॉल्व होंगे, बट आप ये चीज़ें चल नहीं सकती. कहीं ना कहीं से आपको हथियार लाने हैं, ट्रेनिंग लानी है, इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन करवानी है, आपको गोली मतलब AK-47 लेके उसमें गोली भी तो डालनी है ना, गोली के पैसे लगते हैं, कहाँ से लाओगे आप और मैं? अब कहाँ से AK-40? हमें कोई इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तो होना चाहिए, और ये इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सारे का सारा पाकिस्तान में. अब हिंदुस्तान ने इसमें एक चीज़ की कि पुलवामा के बाद खासकर देखें मोदी साहब की जो सरकार है वो थोड़ी एक मस्कुलर पॉलिसी उन्होंने अपनाई है जब से वो मतलब पावर में आए हैं.
With India acting tough on terrorism, the Inter-Services Intelligence has now resorted to aiding old and small terror groups operating from Pakistan. ISI is trying to re-establish and re-strengthen 8 old terror groups after international pressure on Jaish Mohammad, Lashkar-e-Taiba and Hizbul Mujahideen has increased. These old terror outfits are being trained by the ISI to revive their old strength so that they can once again launch deadly terror attacks in India and especially in Kashmir. Many reports also reveal that ISI is taking desperate measures to continue its terror strategies in Kashmir due to India's tough stance on combating terrorism. It is indoctrinating the vulnerable youth of Kashmir for its agenda of bleeding India with 1,000 cuts.
पाकिस्तान ने प्रॉक्सीज इस्तेमाल करना शुरू किया. हिंदुस्तान को वो लॉन्ग टर्म जो इनकी ओल्ड पॉलिसी थी कि ब्लीडिंग इंडिया बाय 1,000 कट्स, खालिस्तान में भी हुआ, कश्मीर में भी हुआ। कश्मीर के लोगों की जो रिलीजियस सेंटिमेंट्स थी उनको एक्सप्लॉइट किया। हमारे बच्चों को इतना ब्रेन वॉश और इंडोक्ट्रिनेट कर दिया है कि वो अब अपने आप को सुसाइड वेस्ट डाल के मतलब हमला करते हैं।
Even as Pakistani establishment signaled it was open to peace talks, the people in the Indian defense establishment have seen such promises only as being hollow. The sharp increase in attempts of infiltration of terrorists from Pakistan and explosive attacks indicate that Pakistan has never been and will never be ready to establish peace and accord. In the contrary, it is continuously focusing on inculcating ideas of terrorism among sensitive youth of Kashmir.
After losing territory in Syria, Islamic State seems to be fast regaining its international presence as a major threat to global peace and security. Horrific Easter Sunday attacks perpetrated by them in Sri Lanka made it even clear that jihadist terror group has been able to establish its local channels in South Asian countries. Recently, an investigative news entity revealed close links between an ex-military officer from Bangladesh and Islamic State terrorists who was alleged to have abetted Easter Sunday bombings and several attacks in Bangladesh. We have a report. In last few months, ISS has launched massive attacks in South Asian countries, proclaiming their resurgence as one among the most dreaded jihadist terror outfits in the world. In April this year, Islamic State carried out deadly jihadist-style suicide bombings in Sri Lanka, killing over 250 people that plunged the country into a state of deep shock and terror. After hideous Easter Sunday attacks in Sri Lanka, the terror group did not cease its activities and waged another bomb blast on security forces in Bangladesh in the same month. Since April this year, there have been 2 blasts in Dhaka city causing injury to the members of law enforcing agencies, and each case Islamic State has claimed responsibility.
They have ties with the ISS, Al-Qaeda and other groups, and ISS, particularly has now become a mercenary force. In order for its survival, they are serving the Western, different countries' interest in order to get money and weapon.
The operability of Islamic State terror outfit in Bangladesh, while the Bangladesh government consistently rules out the presence of the dreaded terror group, points towards the nexus of a few Bangladesh nationals have with the dreaded jihadist group. A report published by a popular investigative weekly, Blitz, has made shocking evidence public that an ex-military officer of Bangladesh, who now resides in UK, is continuing his activities as a fundraiser for Islamic State and other militancy groups. The ex-military officer Mohammad Khan was reportedly involved in the Easter Sunday terror attacks in Sri Lanka, and there are apprehensions that this man may plot terror attacks in India too, as he has links with Dawood Ibrahim and Pakistani spy agency, the ISI. As per reports, Shaiuddin Khan is a shareholder in Dawood Ibrahim's infamous tea company that runs a transnational narco trade.
He is a retired army colonel who was running earlier, an investment company, made a lot of money through his contacts in Pakistan, like with Dawood Ibrahim and other, So these are the people, they are also involved in drug running, gun running, all sorts of activities, raising fund and then funding it to other militant organizations.
While ISIS is spreading wings in South Asia and Western world, it is truly worrying that individuals like Shahiduddin Khan are finding Britain as a safe haven for investing dirty money and continuing their terror activities using the foreign soil. Even though Pakistan's numerous attempts at propagating anti-India sentiments in the West is failing miserably, Islamabad is still pumping in millions of dollars to revive the dead Khalistan movement in Punjab. Desperate in its efforts to ignite violence in India, Pakistan's ISI is recruiting Sikh pilgrims for pushing pro-Khalistan movement and supporting referendum 2020 campaign in India. India has raised its concern on anti-India activities in Pakistan through a 23-page dossier submitted by Indian officials to Islamabad in a meeting this week. We bring you a report. Pakistan has been unrelenting in its support to the anti-India elements. It has not only been financing secessionist endeavors, but is also giving them access to its land to devise their sinister strategies. These planned vicious strategies are executed by Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence Agency, which is now working whole and soul on fueling anti-India activities through cross-border terrorism. A former politician and the chairman of All India Anti-Terrorist Fund, MS Bitta, ridiculed Pakistan's attempts of igniting Khalistan movement and said Punjab and Punjabis are never going to support Pakistan in its plans of dividing India through Punjab.
खालिस्तान पहली बात तो ना बना था, ना बनेगा, ना बनने देंगे। पहली बात तो स्पष्ट, उसके गवाह हम हैं। शरीर के हिस्से दिए, हजारों लोग शहीद हुए, और अगर बनेगा तो गंदी हनेरी की तरह हमारी लाशों से निकल के चले जाएगा।
In a recent meeting held between Indian and Pakistani officers at Atari Wagah border, New Delhi shared a detailed list of events between 2016 and 2019 that were orchestrated by Khalistani elements. India has said that the 4 annual Indian Sikh Jathas who visit important Gurudwaras in Pakistan every year under a bilateral protocol to visit religious shrines have been regularly subjected to anti-India propaganda during their visit against the spirit of the protocol. In the exhaustive 23-page dossier, Indian government listed out several concerns on the involvement of pro-Khalistan elements by Pakistan that can even affect the negotiations of Kartarpur corridor. After the dossier, Pakistan initiated the removal of pro-Khalistan leader Gopal Singh Chawla, but only to end up replacing him with Amir Singh, another Khalistani hardliner.
अब पाकिस्तान ने उनको वहाँ से निकाल दिया है, पर एक और जो खालिस्तानी सपोर्टर हैं उनको ले लिया गया है। खालिस्तानी सपोर्टर एक बैकडोर रूट ढूंढ रहे हैं किसी तरह से पंजाब से लोगों का कनेक्ट करना।
Indian Sikh pilgrims have remained at the target of Pakistan's ISI, and once again they are seeking to recruit vulnerable pilgrims for their purpose of refueling the idea of referendum 2020 in Punjab. The incidents of Sikh pilgrims being recruited by Pakistani intelligence agencies for pushing the pro-Khalistan movement have become a matter of concern for the Indian security establishment. According to a senior Indian security official, ISI is supporting the referendum 2020 campaign under the guise of Sikh pilgrimage.
वो खालिस्तानी नहीं है वहाँ पे, वो सारे ISI के एजेंट हैं। ISI के इशारों पे चलते हैं।
Today, Pakistan finds itself a globally isolated region with a rapidly mounting pressure by the United States, which has accused it of housing and nurturing terrorists. Yet Pakistan continues to propagate anti-India sentiments and disrupt peace in the Asian region. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We will be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Surbhi Sharma signing off on the behalf of entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.